Hello and welcome to I Can't Believe This Got Greenlit, a show where we discuss movies from our childhood, our nostalgia from watching them as kids, how they got made, and our experiences rewatching them as adults. I am one of your hosts, Nick Warner, and joining me as always, Matthew Pelton.
As always. Hi, Nick.
Hey, dude.
Dude, what happened there? What just happened?
I don't know.
There was
no
some
one on Spotify is going to hear it.
Nick screwed up something on the board over there.
Okay. Today, we have a very special guest to talk about a very exciting movie. And also, another very exciting movie. Here today in the studio, we have Lilly Larrabee. Lilly, welcome to the show.
Hello, friends. Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. How are you guys?
Doing well. Excited to talk about the movie. Two movies today.
Yes.
Today, we're here to cover the movie from the year 2000 called The Emperor's New Groove, which I'm very excited about. But first, I want to give you some time to talk a little bit about a movie that you're producing. Is that right?
Well, I'm their marketing director.
Oh, marketing director.
And I was their crafty producer.
That's
Great.
why
Okay.
she's
I made-
plugging it.
Yeah.
Yes, here I am,
Doing your job to the max.
Absolutely,
I love
absolutely.
It.
But I also made some food for everybody.
Love it.
20-person crew. We made that homemade food again. It was
Whoa,
super
nice,
fun.
nice.
There you
But
go.
yeah, this film is another BFA. It's called Afterworld. It's a post-apocalyptic cat and mouse chase involving AI.
Whoa.
Lots of action and lots of thrills. So it's really, really good.
Yeah,
And
that
if you guys
sounds
are interested in checking it out, please follow us on Instagram, the @Afterworld Film. Again, @Afterworld Film. The director is Matthew Berry, and he's so very talented.
Yeah.
This,
I know Matthew Berry.
Right,
I
there
did a
you go.
project with him freshman year.
Dude.
No way.
He's one of the sweetest guys I've ever met in my life.
Oh, no way.
absolutely. That
I gotta meet
guy
him.
reigns in so many Evvies. This movie,
Yeah,
that
this
is-
movie
I-
is going to be winning
I'm
some
aware.
Evvies. I know it. It's there.
Very cool.
So there you go.
Dang, I wrote that
the
pitch down.
post- no, where's me and Nick's cut for the plug there? Are we, is
No,
Matthew
no, no.
I'll
Berry
make you guys
giving
a
us
homemade
money?
meal. How about that?
We'll
There
take
you go.
that.
There
That
you
could
go.
work.
Yeah, that'd be
I would
amazing.
down. For the listener at home, Lilly is a dear friend of the show, a dear friend of ours. And she was also a co-producer on Alone Again, the BFA that I helped produce. So
Filmed
very
at
happy to
my
have
apartment. That's the only
yes.
say we had it, but
her. Yeah, Pelton was there.
I was around.
He
Yep.
was sleeping.
Hi, bye. That was our interaction.
Okay,
Good.
there's a lot to unpack with this movie, specifically in production. So,
I've heard.
Yes.
I've heard the rumors.
this is a much anticipated movie for me. However, I want to start, Lilly, with you with childhood stories. So you were the one that picked this movie. I know you were between a
Dude, yeah.
few.
I was, but you were so gun
I
ho
was
about
so
some
adamant about
This is
Emperor's
you.
New Groove. This
was you.
So this is what
is
happened.
his fault.
Lilly came to me with, I think, what was it, 2 or 3
Yeah,
movies?
yeah, something like
And
that.
then
What were the choices? Do you remember?
what were the other 2? I don't remember because I was
oh,
like
man.
Emperor's New Groove all the way.
Was it like Gremlins and...
I don't remember.
Was it Gremlins? Maybe
I
it
don't
wasn't.
think
Maybe I'm
so.
lying. It was
'Cause
probably
it was
something.
2 that I didn't really know that well.
Okay.
But Emperor's New Groove, I was like, I can talk
I'll
about
bet you
that
one of them was The
movie.
Labyrinth. Was it? I'm pretty
Pan's
sure
Labyrinth?
I typed... No,
Because
The
that would've been
Labyrinth.
Pan.
With
Oh, I
David
was
Bowie.
like,
What are you talking
I was like,
about?
Andy's doing that movie.
Is he?
Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I think it
imagine
was
she,
The
like-
Labyrinth because I don't think I've ever.
Yeah,
heard
no,
this
The
no
Labyrinth
way,
with
yeah.
David Bowie. Like
Oh.
that, yeah. He's
Okay,
wearing
yeah, no,
tights,
I've never seen it.
goblins, puppets. So
Oh,
good.
yeah, I'm aware of what that
Oh,
crazy
yeah,
movie
yeah,
is.
so glad.
Interesting.
I like to think that the other 2 options were like The Shining, Goodwill
Yeah,
Hunting,
yeah.
and then Emperor's New Groove.
And I was like,
Nick
that one,
Emperor,
the
Emperor.
Disney
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Okay, so did you watch this movie as a child? What
Oh
are
my
your
God.
childhood stories around
All
this
the
movie?
time. No, I was actually on a phone call with my mom on the way here, and I was trying to tell her, about the podcast. She's like, I don't get it. And I'm like, no, listen. So basically, we go and we talk about these movies that we watched as kids. They like ask for stories, and then we break down the production. It's gonna be really cool. Here's a story that I had for my mom, which was kind of cute.
Okay.
Because I guess she's like out of the loop. When you have 4 kids, you kind of just don't pay attention to what they're talking about in the backseat of the car. But we were all getting ready for this road trip. And we, it's like 3 a.m. I don't know why, but we insisted on leaving for road trips like really early in the
3
morning.
a.m., why?
I don't know.
Awful.
But yeah,
incredible.
and we had this Sienna minivan, and we had just gotten this tablet that my little sister was obsessed with. She would play Tetris and Candy Crush and stuff like that on it. But yeah, we hooked it up with Netflix, and we had it in the back seat. And all 4 of us, 3 a.m., fighting. We were just tooth and nail. We're like, I hate this. We can't pick a movie to watch on the way out the driveway.
It's
And
just me and
everybody's
Nick.
like, butting heads left and right. And that is when we discovered that the only movie that all 4 of us could agree on was The Emperor's New Groove.
Whoa.
And
Oddly specific
I
choice.
know. Like, we were just scrolling through Netflix. It was on Netflix at the time. And we put it on, and we were like,
Wow.
this is hitting the spot. We were silent for the rest of the car ride. We watched it 3 times. It was so good.
times?
Yes.
3 times?
Dude, yeah, I know that movie inside and out.
Yes.
Today, watching it, I was like half watching it because I was like, I already know everything that is going on.
This is my kind of
Yeah.
guest.
Lines,
This
everything
is my
like
kind
that.
of guest. I love it.
So
I love
yeah,
it.
so that's one of them.
That's incredible. Okay, Pelton, have you seen this movie as a kid, or is this a new discovery for you? Because I feel like recently it's been new discoveries.
Yeah, it's kind of follows the same trend. I did not watch this as a kid at all.
Okay.
I didn't even know what it was. I never even heard of it.
What?
Wow.
Nothing.
Was this your
This is
first watch
honestly
ever?
blasphemous
No.
to me.
Okay.
I think I knew. I don't remember when. My first watch was college.
Okay.
Kind of same with like Nightmare. Like it just wasn't on my radar.
makes sense.
Watched it first in college. I don't know why I put it on. And my memory is I watched it alone.
Yeah.
It was not like I was with
The Emperor's
friends
New
and they're
Groove?
like, yeah, like let's put it on. I was like, I sought it out for some reason. I don't know. As a 20-year-old man, I was like, I gotta watch this movie. And I can't say how I felt about it, obviously, but I rewatched it for the show. I've only seen it twice. I have no connection to this movie whatsoever.
Got it.
Though there's,
Okay.
there's a
Wow.
show connection that I'm sure we'll get into in a second
Maybe.
with a specific cast member.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, we'll get to
Come
that.
on now.
For me, we owned the VHS of this as a kid. Like this was very
Dude,
hard.
the VHS.
Yeah,
Oh,
like this was
man.
very,
Yes.
very much in the zeitgeist. Like very much in my world. We watched it
Okay.
over and over and over. My brother and I as a kid. I remember loving it, and also weirdly, it didn't feel like a Disney movie because it didn't have all the songs. It didn't have all like the weird
It's fair.
like, Disney
it has
magic.
a very unique vibe
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
And then I kind of just forgot about it for a really long time. And then it kind of came back into my world, I think like end of high school, early college.
Okay.
And then I started rewatching it over and over. And then I just rediscovered just the masterpiece of this movie.
Wait.
Absolutely.
How many times have you watched this movie?
A lot. A lot.
Enough said.
There's no number. I don't
The way
actually
he
know.
didn't even
You got to start
hesitate.
tallying.
I d-
If you're
yeah.
watching it that often, just start
Start
tallying. that
tallying.
stuff, yeah.
I bet you, I'm going to start a tally now. In about 5 years, just ask me. I'll put like 20 on the board and then we'll go from
Oh,
there.
so
That's
it's
like my start.
easily
yeah, it's a
double
lot.
digits.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
probably.
Dude, Emperor's New Groove is one of those movies.
Yeah.
You got to watch it more than 10 times.
Yeah, of course. All right. So with that being said, let's go right into production.
Yes.
So we mentioned before the show that there was a Chicken Little connection, and we're gonna get into that
we
right
were
now.
talking about some weird Chicken Little
Because-
connection. I'm
Connection.
pumped. I
This
am
movie
pumped.
was directed by Mark Dindal, who is
Who's
the
that?
director of Chicken
Oh!
Little. Yeah.
What? He's
yes,
back.
Yes, he is back.
Oh, well, this is before
It's
Chicken Little.
before
isn't it?
Chicken Little.
So he did this, then perfected his craft with Chicken Little.
Yes,
That's what
but
you're
it
about
gets,
to say.
It gets tricky, and we'll get to that in a second. There's a
Okay.
giant production horror story surrounding this movie, but
Well, yeah,
before that
yeah.
whole thing, so Mark started as a Disney animator. He worked on Fox and the Hound, Black Cauldron, Oliver and Company, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, among many, many more.
Yeah,
So
all-
very
basically
much,
all my favorites.
Exactly.
Yeah, all
We can
not
talk
Chicken
about it.
Little level,
And then he
though,
directed
so not
this.
worth talking about.
and then Chicken Little.
Yeah, there. That's the only
Music
one that
for this film was done after firing one or two people.
Yep.
The ending person who did it was John Debney. He is back.
Who's that?
This is the guy. This is the only guy on the show. He has now entered the Five Timers Club.
Oh, I know
He
this dude.
is the guy who did the music for Spy Kids, Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Chicken Little, Zathura, and this movie, and also 80 for Brady. So-
Wait,
Must
what?
be important to know 80 for Brady.
Yes, Lily, he has been on this show so many times. It's actually
Is that
insane.
officially our fifth time?
He's
Our
the first
five-timer.
ever in the Five Timers
Wow,
Club.
good for
Also,
him.
today marks
Woo.
the 25th episode being released on Spotify, which is pretty crazy.
That means he
Hey,
pops up.
26th episode that
job,
we've
guys.
technically done.
Yeah,
but-
wah, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Does that mean he
Yes.
pops up one out of every 5 episodes?
Yes, he's been on the show 20% of the time,
That's horrifying.
which is insane. But yeah, he's a close
Mantz comes up with some
collaborator
good music.
with
He
Disney.
does.
Yeah, he's a close collaborator with Disney, with Robert Rodriguez.
Yep.
With who's the guy who did Elf? Why am I forgetting his name?
John
Happy
Favreau.
Hogan. Yeah. Yeah, John Favreau. He's very much in the Disney world.
Okay.
In the Disney
So we
world.
kind of have like reoccurring characters
Yes.
for this movie.
Yes.
All of our people are
also
coming back.
one of the main characters.
Yes, that's what I was saying earlier. One of our cast.
Patrick Warburton.
He's back,
Is
baby.
back.
Oh, yeah.
He's
This is his
back.
fourth
This
movie.
is why
for
when
the
we
show.
discussed this initially, you were like, yes, absolutely.
all of the
right
Greenlit
there.
There's so many
characters are
Greenlit
back.
players in this movie.
Oh
It's
God, I love
incredible.
it.
Patrick
Okay, so
Warburton has
perfect.
returned.
That's
Also
awesome.
a Disney film, right? My alley.
Oh yeah, that's true.
This is the 40th Disney animated film, which is also
Oh.
interesting because Disney made a huge deal out of Encanto being their 60th. Like, you know how they had that whole thing of like, Encanto's the 60th Disney film. Like,
Well,
watch
that was
all
after
of
their
them.
50th celebration. You
I
know what I
know,
mean? Like,
it's like-
another 10 years after
Exactly.
that. Bring back the
And-
hype.
But there was nothing really special for this, like of note that at least I found. There could have been.
It's fair.
I think the
I don't
special
know.
was all the difficulties they ran into
Exactly.
during
Yeah,
the production
I
of
don't think
this.
they're very
years
happy
and
with
years.
this.
Right.
Yeah.
This movie started with a $25 million budget.
Started.
After the nightmare that we're about to get into, it ended with a $100 million budget. and grossed $169 million.
Oh.
So it didn't make a lot of money.
Definitely probably didn't make us money.
Is that domestically?
That is worldwide.
Oh, worldwide.
Wow.
At least I'm fairly certain. Usually we go off worldwide.
Now I'm gonna
gross.
even go further. I'm gonna assume that's worse than we think. Because general rule of thumb, you take the budget, multiply it by 2 for marketing, so it's probably like $200 million they spent.
Yeah.
But just knowing a little bit about the nightmare of this production and all the people that they probably paid a lot of money to get, and got fired, and just years of havoc, it's probably more than that.
Yeah, probably.
They probably lost a lot of money on this.
This also, going off of that note, this is considered the end of the Disney Renaissance.
Ooh.
So the Disney Renaissance being Hunchback, Hercules, Lion King, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, like the massive hits.
Yeah, this was
Beauty and the Beast,
killed it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Honestly, it makes sense. It's a lot of adult humor.
And I will say, like, one last thing about the money, real quick, is I know Patrick Warburton cost $200 million alone. You don't just get him for free. So.
Right. But going off of that, this was the best-selling DVD of 2001.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
And VHS sales, all of that stuff.
Okay.
Well, it made money back, and it also later became like kind of a cult classic. People that like this movie, like me, come back
like
over
us.
and over and over. Yeah, exactly. We're the psychopaths that keep coming back.
I love it.
Your word.
Okay, so here we go. Development on this movie began in 1994.
Oh, brother.
When the film was conceived as a musical epic titled Kingdom of the Sun.
I knew about this.
Roger Allers, who is the director of The Lion King, he's been brought up on the show before. The director of The Lion King, like the guy.
The big man.
Again, famously, Lion King is the most successful Disney animated movie of all time. To this day, I think. Was set, at least at that time, was set to direct this movie initially.
Okay.
And recruited Sting to compose several songs for the film.
Yeah. Sting. They got Sting.
Yeah, they got Sting.
I couldn't believe that when I read it. I was like, Sting?
Like, when I first heard that, I was like, Sting what? Like, there's no way it's Sting. Like, there's no way they got Sting.
Well, no, but like, they did, though.
And didn't they kind of get him because of Phil Collins and Jungle Book?
Jungle Book?
Tarzan.
Tarzan,
Not
yeah.
Jungle Book. For Tarzan.
Okay, to be fair, it is Disney. So you're
I was on the right track. Didn't they kind of start like a trend of getting these
probably because that was
artists to do
prior
music?
to this movie.
Yeah, it was before, I think, and that was such a big soundtrack.
Yeah.
Those Phil Collins songs.
Yeah, it was.
Those are
Dude,
great
that was
songs.
the first album I actually ever owned was Tarzan.
Yeah,
on an
it's
iPod
a good
shuffle.
album
Yes.
tone. It's incredible.
Dude, yeah.
Those things make me
doing chores
weep.
around the house. Like, I wanna know.
Phil Collins.
So
Yeah.
good.
I gotta go listen to that when I go home. But anyways, after the box office failures of Pocahontas, which was 1995, again, development started in 1994. This was Roger Allers' idea.
A year before Pocahontas.
Yeah. And Hunchback of Notre Dame, whatever, 1996. Mike Dindal, who's the guy who ended up directing this movie, was brought in as a co-director to make the film more comedic.
Oh.
So it started this big musical epic similar to The Lion King with Incan culture, all this stuff that ends up being in the final film, but the musical epicness gets really severely whittled down and it becomes more of a comedy.
Imagine being that funny that you bring a musical epic to a comedy movie.
Right.
Now, I've never seen Pocahontas or Hunchback.
What?
I have not. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
ridiculous.
I knew that was coming.
Pocahontas is good. Hunchback is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Whoa.
Yeah,
oh my God.
it's so insane.
Okay.
The
It's
first
so
time I
good.
ever
It is
saw that
really good.
movie, when I forget the song, but there's like the famous song in it.
Okay.
I like started crying. Okay, go ahead.
That's wild. But are the two of those, because you said they perform poorly, right?
Yeah, financially.
Are the two of them
yeah.
big dramatic musical movies?
Yes.
And that's why Disney got cold feet?
That's exactly why.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was in line with those, and like,
Yeah.
hey, these aren't doing super well, so let's
Yeah.
get someone to fix it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, before I go into it any further, I want to say that there's what I didn't know I mean, I knew a little bit, but I didn't really know prior to doing research for the show that there is a literal documentary about the creation of this movie called The Sweatbox.
Yeah.
The
Now,
Sweatbox.
It was filmed, and I don't know if it was, I think it was edited, filmed, edited, and released at a film festival by Sting's wife,
Yeah.
which I didn't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
snap.
I knew about that.
And the second that it premiered at the film festival, it got lots of critical praise, and then Disney bought it up, locked it in the vault forever. It was gone. They were like, no one's ever seeing this again. Because
Dude, Disney's
it
evil.
basically,
Sometimes.
it documents the basically tragic downfall that this movie has. And also the Sweatbox is the meeting, like the room above the screening room that the animators met with the executives at Disney to kind of talk about what the executives thought of like the screenings.
Yeah.
And usually that's
A
where
nightmare.
it gets ripped apart
Yes.
Oh,
and
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
reconstructed. And there's also no windows, no air conditioning famously in that room because it's been around since like Snow White. It's been around like since the 40s.
Oh my god.
Now no. Please go ahead.
I was gonna say I have lots and lots of notes on the Sweatbox, so I'll run through them really quickly.
Okay.
But go ahead.
I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
And I've been dying to ask you this question. Okay.
Yeah.
So on this show, we give a lot of praise to one particular podcast called Blank Check.
Yes.
Because we both love Blank Check. I worship them. I've been listening. They have a David Fincher series going on right now. It's so good. But point is, I have 2 podcasts that I adore.
Yeah.
One of them, maybe more than Blank Check.
Yeah.
It's called What Went Wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And when this movie got chosen, I know they did an episode on this. And they kind of do the same thing we do. It's like an hour of just production, though. It's not like what they thought about the plot or anything.
Right.
It's like, here's the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a good movie, just here's what went wrong during production. So I was like, Nick, they watched it. They somehow found the documentary, even though it's vaulted. They watched it. They have the best notes ever. I want to shout them out. I love these guys. They shout me out at the end of their episodes. Don't ask why. But Nick, did you listen to the episode?
Yeah, of course I did.
Let's go.
Yeah, of course I did. It's an incredible. I'm going to start listening. I was going to start listening anyways, but I wanted to see what they had to say. And like you said, it's literally just our segment of production, just the whole episode.
It's like an hour.
It's also
production.
incredibly interesting.
Yeah,
they go a lot more into the specifics of who the players were in the time, like who the animators were, who the executives were, who the all the people.
Yeah, they do. It's so intense.
Have a very
that
detailed
show.
timeline, and it's incredible. So I highly suggest checking that out.
What went wrong, baby?
But,
just had to plug them. It's a very pluggy episode today.
Yeah, I agree.
We love it. We love marketing, and it's fine.
There you go. We love it. Okay, so here are my notes from the Sweatbox. An incredibly interesting documentary, by the way. If you haven't watched it already, go check it out. It's on the Internet Archive.
Yeah.
It's available somehow.
You have to look for it, but it is available. Yeah.
I did one Google search and I found it, but that's fine.
It's called, you just have to Google it. But
okay, let's run through this. Okay, because of Roger Allard's success with The Lion King, Disney flew him out to South America to study Incan culture, no questions asked. Like, immediately. They were just like, yeah, you did The Lion King, let's go.
They ripped him out of
on
bed.
a first-class flight. Yeah. He just went, he did drawings, he did everything. Like,
that's how that works, though. Like, if you win, like, a Best Picture or Best Director, your next movie, like, whatever you want, just we'll give you, like, $200 million. Go.
Imagine they sedated him and he just woke up in South America.
He's like, Incan culture, get on it.
Yeah, right. Here's a notebook.
And this was fully conceived by him. That he gets a story by credit because this was originally his idea. Mike, who ended up directing it later, he totally different movie, but this is his original story.
Started with him.
Yeah. Sting was making music for this film with absolutely no script. They were just like, here's the idea.
Nice.
Make music.
Always a good idea.
And it's also completely different from the type of music he normally makes. He says it in the documentary of like, I don't make Disney music, but this is Sting doing Disney music.
Oh, so didn't this just happen with Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yes.
I said, didn't they start the music without a script?
Yeah. And also, this is another podcast related episode. Blank Check did a Nightmare episode.
That's true.
What Went Wrong did Emperor's episode.
I will say, you would think that would go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
That's twice it kind of worked.
There are 2 songs in there that you hear from like the original Kingdom of the Sun. They're incredible. Done by Sting. About like a rock and then about the sun or about like whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it was revolving around like myths and legends and Incan culture. That was some of those deep dives of like the research that they did was really cool.
It's awesome.
It's also Sting.
But Sting, like on top of that, yeah.
Okay. 3 years of production on Kingdom of the Sun with Dindal and Allers. They did that for 3 years. Full storyboards, full reels, everything. They showed a reel of the whole film, which is basically when they show reels to the executives, it's like every single frame that's going to be in the movie just as rough sketches.
Just like hand-drawn, I'm assuming,
But they showed the reel to 2 executives who, by the way, if you watch the documentary, they seem super, super chill compared to like nowadays. Like they tear the movie apart and they're like, this sucks, but like they make jokes while they're doing it. It's awesome.
That's kind of cool.
But yeah, so they showed a reel of the film up to that point with music and sketches to the heads of animation, and in 10 minutes they politely ripped the movie apart. And yeah, that's 3 years of production basically for nothing. They were like, you have to literally start over. That's it. Everything's out the door.
They shelved it. That was crazy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine working on something like a BFA like for 3 years and you're like, this is gonna be finally it, and then somebody's like, actually, never mind.
Like you fly to a different country to do research. You get Sting.
Yeah. It's just
wild.
Like, and 2 dudes come in and in 10 minutes they go, this is not working. Your characters suck. There's no heart to this at all. There's full music, it's like voiceover.
It's done. Like
didn't they have who was the original guy?
For
Was
Cusco?
it Owen? Yeah, was it Owen Wilson?
It was.
Yeah.
Was it really?
No, it was Owen Wilson was Pacha, but Pacha was the main character in the original story.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yes.
And Owen Wilson was the main character, and whoever plays Cusco, I can't remember his name. What's his name?
David Spade.
David
Yes.
Spade. He was there from the start.
Oh, he
the
was.
lady who voiced Yzma was there from the start. Kronk's character didn't come in until like
Didn't exist, right?
years later.
Yeah.
Dude, that's such a filler character, but he like made the whole thing.
part
Okay,
of that movie.
yes.
I see. We'll get into Kronk
Yeah.
when we get to the plot. Yeah.
And they basically told Sting eventually that like, hey, we're gonna move on from
we
we don't
going
need you
different
anymore.
direction. Now I have a question for both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think genuinely that the movie was not working, like to that extreme, or you think these two just didn't quite get it?
I think based on what was happening with Disney with the emotional, melodramatic,
True.
like very big instrumental pieces, I think that they were just playing it safe. I really
agree.
do.
Because of the two bombs, right?
I agree.
Yeah, right,
Especially
right.
because of the songs that I heard and the animation that I saw that didn't end up being the final film. I was blown away. I was like,
Oh,
I want
really?
to see more of this. This looks awesome.
Interesting.
Right.
So I almost wish there was a version of it that was a musical epic, like a classic
It stayed the
Disney
same,
Kingdom of
yeah.
the Sun. Like, that sounds so cool.
Well,
I'm the
maybe
director of
when
Lion
you
King,
work
like,
as an
oh,
executive for Disney,
Bring
you
it
can pull it
back,
off the
bring it
shelf.
back.
I'll just say yes to
It's
everything.
already done. Like all you have to do is the final work, and then there you go.
Exactly.
Like David Spade, we need you
Kingdom
again,
of the Sun.
buddy. Come back.
Yeah,
Exactly.
He would in 5 seconds.
100%. Yeah. Roger Allers was torn to shreds because it was his idea from the start, and the studio went with the idea that basically, there was a meeting where they were like, Roger Allers and Mike Dindal, like, you guys both go off for like a week, come up with different ideas of which direction this movie can go in. We're going to have a pitch meeting, and then we're going to pick. So basically, Roger Allers was going to go second. And then, so Mike Dindal got up. Roger Allers went up, did his pitch.
First.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stone face from the executives.
Oof.
Mike Dindal went up. He started giving his pitch. Apparently, it was the only time that they had ever seen the two executives laugh. And they were really into it. So
Okay.
Roger Allers saw
Dude.
this and was like, hey, I can see where this is going.
Obviously.
I get it. And he like was super respectful about it. Like he was super, polite about
Yeah.
it. And then he just walked away. This was his baby from the start. 3 to 5 years of production in his hands.
man.
He started with him, brought in a co-director. He ended up just leaving. He was just like, I can't.
That's like
That's-
heartbreaking.
It's a
can't-
hard decision to make too.
After 3
Exactly.
Just be like, I
years?
can't.
And he
do
was
it.
like, I can't make this a comedy film with no music. Like that was just it.
Yeah,
he
I
was
don't-
like,
I
I'm
don't want it.
gone.
Oh my God.
And then he went on to direct the open season.
Oh no! His life really went downhill.
Oh no.
To be fair, open season was 2006, so he did a couple movies before. But I just forgot, and then it just
What
came back to me that
happened, buddy?
So both of these directors are also other Greenlit episodes.
Yeah.
But it is pretty funny.
That's when the problem started, when he dropped Kingdom of the Sun. He's like,
Yeah, yeah.
Also, like, it's so that think about how tragic that is.
Yeah.
You make The Lion King, which is like breaks so many records.
Instant
like,
classic.
oh my God, instant classic. And all of a sudden, he's like, I have this new passion project.
Mm-hmm.
He spent 3 years on it, researched this whole thing. He got Sting to do it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the whole movie's pulled from under the rug. He's like, I'm going to walk. This isn't what I want to do. And he quits. And then he makes open season. Dude, what happened?
I know. Okay, I like open season, but I get it.
Yeah, it's
it's
not-
not
come
The Lion
on.
King.
No.
Definitely not The Lion King.
Yeah.
Okay, so they kept Yzma and Cusco as the same voice actors, but they changed Yzma's character a lot in this like overhaul. And the voice actor for Yzma didn't really love this.
Cool.
Because
Always
she
good.
became like less. I don't know if it was less sure of herself, because she's very sure of herself in this movie, but there's something that happened where she was like, the way I'm portraying the character isn't the way that I wanted to, like how it was in the beginning. She was having more
yeah.
fun in the beginning. But if you watch, she is clearly the best part of this movie. She's like a 65, 70-year-old woman, like in the documentary I'm saying.
oh yeah, yeah.
She is a 65, 70-year-old woman, and she is just loving life. She is the most passionate voice actor I've ever seen.
Really?
It's like watching Bradley Cooper during the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
doing Rocket.
Like, she is so into it. Like, I suggest watching the documentary just for that. It's incredible.
That's why Yzma, the character, is so iconic.
Yeah.
If you have a voice actor that's that into the
Yeah,
character,
it shows.
it channels through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
And also her voice is just so iconic.
Who voiced her? Is it Eartha Kitt?
Yes, it's Eartha Kitt. Yeah. I always forget her name, but yes, Eartha Kitt was
Yeah.
the
No, it's one of
actress.
those ones
Yeah,
that you think you're gonna forget.
Yeah.
It's just Eartha Kitt. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Best.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yes. They brought Patrick Warburton on later
Yeah,
in the
they
game
did.
because his character was so new, and they outsourced a lot of the animation of Kronk and Yzma to France, which they have a whole
really?
section on it. They have
Wow.
they have like every week they would have essentially Zoom meetings, basically it was like video conferences where one of the French animators would take notes from the 3 or 4 animators in the U.S. on scenes that they've done, and then he would translate it to his French animators, and then they just go off and do Kronk and Yzma.
Oh, that's so fun.
Which is kind of crazy, yeah. And then after one of the, because they go through many, many more of these like full reel screenings, and they keep ripping it apart and changing things. Okay. But eventually they are like, hey, we're not going to redo the whole movie. It's just this part, this character, this scene, et cetera, et cetera. That's why Kronk comes in so late. And they were just like, we need like a fun doofus guy. And then after one of the many more screenings they went through over the years, Sting wrote a handwritten letter to the filmmakers saying that the film shouldn't end with Cusco relocating his theme park rather than getting rid of it altogether, because he's ultimately learns no lessons. And the heads of animation plus Roy E. Disney himself, which is the nephew of Walt Disney, loved this idea. So they were like, let's change it a little bit, and they ended up just doing like summer homes instead of like a full theme park. So Sting was like, I don't like where the movie ended.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Sting is famously kind of anti this movie a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, really? Although he did compose and sing the credits music.
I thought so. Yeah. Okay, it sounded like him.
So he stayed on the project, but what ended up happening was he was doing his album and he was touring by the time, like, after these so many years, that he was like, I'm out of the headspace of working on this project. I fully moved on. So, like, it's really challenging for me to still make music for this project, but I don't ever want to leave it. Like, I'm not a quitter, but I'm also not in the right headspace to do this. Yeah. So he was like, all right, I'm going to do, like, I think he does, like, 1 or 2, maybe just 1, if that, songs throughout the movie, and then he does the credit song.
And that's it.
But it's also weird because they have, like, the Emperor's theme song.
Intro song?
Yeah, as the outro, but then it goes... Yeah, exactly. And then it just like goes right into like this really dark, dramatic Sting song, which is insane. And yeah, like I said earlier, John Debney was the second guy they brought on for a score. And the documentary, I wrote this before knowing that it was Sting's wife who did it, had a very heavy emphasis on Sting. Like it was a lot of footage from him. And then I realized later down the road, it was his wife who filmed and edited all of it. But it's also insane because
him in bed and she's
there's
like,
like what Disney person went into...
One creepy PA for sure.
But it's so interesting because you never ever see the true behind the scenes of Disney animation like this documentary. So I highly, highly, highly suggest it because especially as a Disney nerd myself, like, oh my God, it was like almost better than the movie. And I've probably hinted at this. I love this movie so much. Okay.
Probably hinted at this.
Yeah.
Rants and raves for 25 minutes. I think I kind of like it.
I kind of like it a little bit. 21st time I'm watching it. Yeah. Okay. That's all I have for production. Massive, crazy insanity of production.
I feel really bad for a lot of people that worked on this project.
Dude, this is for tough. Years.
Yeah.
What a project that project became.
Is grueling. And I think there was a quote in the movie I think it was from the executive where he was like, doing one of these screens for an executive is like getting your arms chopped off and your pants pulled down and having everyone laugh at you and not be able to pull up your pants. And that's what it's like.
Oh,
and so
that was brutal.
Yeah, and they were like, Roger Allers had to deal with that so many times and then just left. Like, it's just such a hard, like, disheartening.
Dude, you can only give yourself so many times before you're like, you know what, I can't do this.
But that's
just
animation. That was just animation in the 90s because that was the Disney Renaissance. They were the highest standard for animation.
They were strict.
Yeah.
And they always have been, but especially then where they were, like,
they're riding the high of
billions
so
of dollars.
Money. Yeah.
I also just feel bad that like all the work that went into this movie for years and years, and its reputation is the movie that ended the Renaissance era.
I know, and also not many people talk about this.
No.
I have said this. I was going to save it for the end, but perfect time to bring it up. I have said this pretty much since like high school, is that, and I'll stick by this forever, this is the most underrated Disney movie of all time.
I agree. I think it's the middle child.
Exactly.
It's
Chicken Little Disney?
Yes.
You correct that statement. Chicken Little is the most underrated Disney of all time.
I agree that Chicken Little's up there. I think this is the most underrated. Like,
incorrect.
Number one.
Chicken Little's number one.
People don't talk about it because it's a middle child and it doesn't deserve all that love. But in reality, it's like the best one.
I know what you mean, though. It never really gets talked about.
Right.
No one, like when you bring up like favorite movies, you rarely hear Emperor's New Groove.
All the stuff
but I like
right before this. It's Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, Hunchback, all that stuff.
No, you guys don't start every conversation with The Emperor's New Groove is the best movie ever made.
I do.
I certainly do too.
That's true. Like when I first met him, I'm like, hey man, like what's your name?
Emperor's New Groove. I'm Nick, by the way.
Just have to like plug it in there immediately.
I have to make sure that people know who they're like talking to.
Yeah.
Okay. Going into the plot of this movie, we have actually more time than I thought for plot. But so we open with a llama crying in the rain in the jungle as a voiceover from Cusco explains how he is the llama and he used to be the emperor. Also, how he was a nice guy and they ruined his life. This is a very egotistical llama.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat.
Also, an immediate jump scare because I did not know it was David Spade.
Yes.
That was
yes.
horrifying.
I forgot it was, but I like knew the voice. I just like didn't connect the two until now, and I was like,
what an iconic voice.
Yeah.
For
Like,
real.
freaks
all of
me
them
out.
are. Every person
Yes.
in this movie
Especially
is
Patrick
iconic.
Warburton.
Yeah,
Our
well,
boy.
yeah.
Oh my
But even
God.
like John Goodman, they say in the documentary, they say
Yeah,
in
John
the
Goodman's
What Went
fantastic.
Wrong episode, he's just like such a warm, like dad figure, and it's like perfect for this movie.
Yeah.
It is. John
Oh.
Goodman is the perfect casting.
Didn't you-
Incredible.
He did Sully too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
That's
the
why.
perfect-
That's why. Right
oh
there.
my
Yeah. That's
God,
my
I
whole
love him.
childhood.
I love him.
Dude, when he's crying in the rain, Cusco,
Yeah.
that's what I look like in the shower. I'm just like such a sad little llama. I'm just like the end of my day.
A sad little
Yeah.
llama.
This
That's
is me.
awesome.
Everyone ruined my life.
I am David Spade.
But you're not like egotistical about it. It's like
I don't know.
genuine.
You don't know me.
Yeah.
I could be.
It's just the longest we've ever talked. I have no idea.
It's true.
I don't know what you're saying to yourself over there,
right,
David
right.
Spade voice.
Yeah, high five. Like,
Anyways, we cut to a title card of the movie and the Cusco theme song, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And we
with that
see
weird disco dude. Where did he come
Yeah,
from?
it's also
Oh, yeah. Never brought back again either, is he?
really
No,
he's
he's-
brought back
well,
at the end.
yeah, yeah.
The theme song outro. Well, because what they wanted to do, and they did it, but they made the theme song in the beginning about how Cusco is like the best,
Yeah.
and like it's all about him. And then the end, it's the same song, but the lyrics are changed to be it's all about family and all about everyone else, and not just about him. It's
Once
really
the,
cool.
once the black
gross.
screen hits in those credits, I shut the movie off.
Oh.
I did.
What?
I'm not going to
So
lie to you
sad.
guys.
Same. Oh my gosh.
And yes, we see the lavish life that Cusco lives, and he explains how everyone in the palace is at his command and introduces us to the people who seemingly ruined his life. Now we start. Well, we start with Pacha, but I'm going to start with Yzma first.
Okay,
Because
that's fair.
Yzma is the emperor's advisor.
Eartha Kitt, right?
Eartha Kitt.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Eartha Kitt.
Incredible. Who loved doing the emperor's job even when she wasn't supposed to. And Kronk, Patrick Warburton,
Now, let's
is
go.
her right-hand man. He's a big klutzy guy, and we love him to death.
Now, this is the fourth time he's made an appearance, right?
This is 4. Yeah. John Debney hit 5 first. He's in 5 times.
Patrick Warburton's at 4.
Warburton's
I am
next.
so surprised. The way that you talked about this man before I came on
We
this
love him.
podcast. Yeah, it made me think that you brought him up like 32 times. I'm
Well,
like, how
we
many
have.
episodes
we
have
have.
you
Every episode that he's not in,
He gets
he
mentioned.
has been mentioned.
Okay,
You're like, yo,
I
you
think
know
we
what
said
talked
this the
about?
other 3. And
Do we want him on the show?
well, yes, there's that. We want to get him on the show so
I'll
bad.
bet you he would.
But
I
there's no
wish.
way. He's such a big star. And it reigns true in this movie. It is so true. He is the best part of this
it?
movie.
Easily.
Kronk is easily the best character.
It's always
Easily.
the underrated character.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's not underrated.
his
He's
own
honestly,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Although
exactly.
I would argue that Yzma is a really close second. And
I do
also
like
Pacha's
Yzma.
incredible. Like it's very rare that an animated movie has 3 characters. Cusco not so much, but like 3
Yeah, we'll
characters
get
that
into him.
at least me personally care very much about and love every part of them.
That's true. I
Dude,
do
they're
like
awesome.
Every character in
Yeah.
this movie is so relatable.
What's John Goodman's name again? Pacha. Thank
Yeah.
you. Pacha was fantastic.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the
Yes.
3. Yzma,
It's like
Pacha,
Kronk
The
and
sadness
Kronk,
that he
yeah.
can bring on his face, like the animators did so
Yeah, they
well.
did,
He always
yeah.
looks so sad. I'm like, Pacha, no.
Yeah.
Just like a little dad.
Dude, and
Just
also
living
his
life.
wife is such a baddie. Like she's awesome. I
Yeah.
love her, and their kids are hilarious. Like
Yeah.
every
The whole
character. In
family's
this, I know.
cool.
I know.
Yeah.
They're-
Every character in this film. So
It's
good.
great. It's good to see that at least the character development got there after however
Yeah.
many
For the
6
most
years.
part.
Yeah, for
To
the
make
most part,
such
yeah.
lovable characters out of like a musical epic.
Right. Yeah,
So
exactly.
strange.
Not
By
have any
Sting.
musicals.
I-
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
It still keeps me up at night that it was Sting. I don't know why we aren't addressing that more.
Still on it.
And Cusco fires Yzma because she's doing his job. And she's furious. Now, Pacha's the other one that Cusco says is ruining his life. And Pacha is John Goodman. And he's the
Legend.
head of his village and the sweetest dad on the planet. He's a humble
Yes.
man just trying to make things
He's
right
a
for his
good
family
dude.
and the village.
What a good dude.
And yeah, so Pacha is summoned to the palace, and Cusco tells him that at his birthday dinner, I think they said tomorrow, like the
Yeah,
next
it's the
day,
next day.
prior. He's going to give the word to demolish his village and to make way for Cuscotopia, which is a giant getaway with a water slide, complete with water slide. I love that
Why
quote
not?
so
yes,
much.
Yeah.
yes, so good.
Yeah.
I remember when
And-
that hit, I was like, that's the most oddly specific plot
Yeah,
detail
yeah.
I've ever seen in my life.
I think that
but-
was there from the beginning.
Really?
Like weirdly, the whole
like a summer home?
I think.
That's
bizarre. I could be.
That's
I think
so
when they
weird.
switched
Dude.
it from Pacha being the main character to Cusco, that was like one of the main animations that was there from the start.
Fair.
I
was
love
him like literally putting the water slide on the.
Oh,
slide.
really?
Yeah.
I love when they bring modernism into Disney movies that are not modern. That's my favorite thing. Like they also had that diner scene. I mean, we'll get to that for sure.
Yeah.
But it was like a diner.
Oh yeah, that's true.
One of my favorite
as a kid,
scenes in
I
the
was like,
movie.
oh my god, they had diners in the Incan Empire. Like,
Also
that's
in the
crazy.
jungle. I'm gonna bring this up, but it's
I know.
The jungle. It's
And
awesome.
also, I didn't even register you said that. This movie was originally Pacha was the main character.
Yeah.
Would that have been better?
I don't know. It was a musical epic about like Earth and like the life. So I don't exactly know.
No, in a hypothetical, pretend the movie's the same movie it is, like tone wise. Would this movie be better if Pacha was the main guy?
No, because you have to kind of hate the protagonist a little bit. So like you kind of hate.
A lot.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, we'll definitely get into that. But
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You
I agree.
prefer it the way it is.
Yes.
You don't think Pacha should be main. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so anyways, back in Yzma's lair, I think, she's still furious about being fired, and she's smashing sculptures of Cusco's head with a hammer, which I think is insanely funny. And she comes up with a plan to poison Cusco, and because he has no heir, she would take over as emperor or empress? Emperor? I don't know. Empress. Yeah, there you go.
And put him in a box.
Yeah.
And then keep going.
That's awesome. All right. So Yzma and Kronk go to their lair, and they make the poison. Wait, how does he say? The poison for Cusco.
You're good at him.
Yeah,
Cusco's
I don't know how
poison.
you do
Poison
that.
for Cusco.
Wait, guys, we got Patrick Warburton as a guest.
Yeah.
We got him.
I'm on the
Welcome.
show. Can't believe it's got greenlit. And then they invite Cusco over for dinner, where they're gonna poison his drink, and Kronk becomes much more focused on the dinner than he does
Dude,
with the
this
poison.
is why Kronk is the best.
It's
my
Yeah.
favorite.
funniest thing because, like,
Chefing
again,
it up.
like you were saying, the way that the animators animate around his voice makes
Yeah.
it so much better because you can see the
Absolutely.
expressions and like the way, even just the way he like shrugs, or he's like, oh, and you just like
It's
see it in his
everything.
face.
It's
You're like,
just
oh my
like-
god, this is perfect.
It is just
Yes.
Patrick Warburton as a cartoon.
It's
Like, they
awesome.
do
Yeah.
such a good job.
They did it for all the characters. That's the
Yeah,
best.
it's the
It's my
best.
favorite thing.
And he mixes up the poison. He has to like, tell Yzma not to drink it.
He's
and
cooking.
eventually, yeah, he's cooking.
He's got his priorities
He's doing
straight.
his
Okay.
thing.
He had
And
courses.
eventually,
He had courses for that meal. We'll
So
talk
many
about it.
did.
Yeah, it was awesome. He's like broccoli, like what else?
Yeah.
Like turnovers and stuff.
dinner,
Yeah,
dessert,
Dude, it
all
was awesome.
prepared,
Yes,
everything.
yeah.
That's true.
And eventually Cusco drinks the poison and seemingly dies, but only for like a few seconds. So then he pops back up, starts talking, and he turns into a llama. And then Yzma tells Kronk to knock him out and take him away to finish the job.
Now, do we know if the turning into a llama was there from the original, or is this like a weird comedic twist that they had to add?
I don't remember.
Not sure.
I don't
One
remember.
could assume it's a comedic twist.
I
yeah,
would say
'cause
so.
right?
But
would
yeah,
say so.
my favorite thing is that the poison bottle, like the label that was on the poison bottle, was a folded up label.
Oh,
so it
yeah.
looked like a skull, and in reality,
But
it was a llama.
llama.
It's such a classic,
I know.
like, misdirect.
Sure.
In
Yeah.
attention to detail.
I love it. Yeah, I think the original. I think everything that's here, most of the pieces, aside from like Kronk as a character, were there from the start. As soon as they switched the main characters, so once it was
Oh,
Pacha
okay.
to Cusco, then all the llama stuff stayed.
Yeah, it
Like,
was
all that was
okay.
there mostly from the beginning. I think the original story was like it's based on like an old Incan tale of like lassoing the sun or
sun,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It's like I don't know. Anyways, Kronk goes on a little adventure, which I thought was hysterical when he's like kind of prancing around by
Oh,
himself
yeah.
to like
Yeah,
toss
Doing
Cusco.
his own music.
Yeah,
own
yeah,
action
his own
music,
theme
yeah.
music. And he puts him in the water that flows to a massive waterfall going all the way down the palace. But the angel and devil appear on his shoulder and fight about what to do. And he eventually saves Cusco, but loses him in a group of people, with the bag landing very conveniently on Pacha's cart, which he brings back home. Now, Pacha gets home and he tells his wife about the bad news at the palace. And after sending his kids off to bed, he goes back out. Also, his kids are adorable, by the way. Like
His whole family
is the
yeah,
cutest
it's
thing
the
ever.
best. They
Okay,
live in
I
a little
love
hill.
them.
Like it's
Yeah, it's
I
just
would
perfect.
kill for that
The whole
life.
I want
bit.
John Goodman to be my dad.
Yeah.
No offense, Dad. I know
really.
you listen. Sorry, Dad.
No, but he's just. He's the best. I want Pacha specifically to
Yeah,
be my dad.
exactly.
Or Sully. You know what? John Goodman. Yeah, you're
Or
right.
Sully.
Just like period.
Yeah. And yeah, so he goes out to kind of unpack from the day, and I think he's sitting down, he's all sad, and then Llama Cusco cuts the film off. He like just fully stops the movie.
Yeah.
And he cuts in and he's like, "Hey, stop feeling bad for Pacha. Remember, it's about me. It's all about
My
me. This is
story."
my movie, my story." He takes out like a big red marker and he like
Yeah, yeah.
crosses him
Yeah.
out.
Not
and he-
him.
Yeah,
Me.
me.
Now,
Yeah.
okay,
Not him.
from this scene,
I loved it.
there's a little turning point for me. I'm not
Okay.
gonna lie. Where
Okay.
in the beginning, I was like, okay, he's like clearly super unlikable. That's the point. I got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was still like funny enough. And then this scene happened. I'm like, okay, he might be too unlikable.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Was this character for you exactly like Elliot in Open Season?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like almost the same type of animal too.
Yep.
Same type of voice. Same exact like annoyance. Like as soon as I was watching this, I was like, oh, this is just
It's
like
just
Open
Elliot,
Season Elliot.
It's the
for
same
Pelton.
exact character.
I knew you were not gonna like it.
Dude.
Which is awesome.
We can spoil a little bit. For the rest of the movie,
Yeah.
I hate this character.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he's the main character. That's
Right.
why I said, like, do you think Potch would be better? I think I would have enjoyed it way more.
Sure.
Because I hate David Spade in this movie.
But then you get no like redemption arc.
I know, I
It's
get,
not-
I get why he
No,
isn't.
yeah.
But
I get it.
But is there even really a redemption arc?
Yeah,
I
arguably
mean,
not.
kind
Is it like
of.
kind of, like,
you
yeah.
can argue no.
But I think the point was just that David Spade was voicing this really funny, unlikable character.
Yes.
Yeah. They also
Like-
loved David Spade. Like Disney just loved him. They kept him.
I
He's
love David Spade in
hilarious.
general as like a person. I just think in this movie they made him so unlikable
Sure.
that they couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
Like he was too much in the beginning.
He's also like 16.
With that,
be
no, I
fair.
know.
Like-
I know it was on purpose. I think they took it too far.
I get it.
And
Yeah.
yet, here we are talking about this
Yeah,
film.
that's true.
So it lasted.
True. Yeah, this is also my 21st time I've seen this. It's just insane.
Tell it.
Yeah, add those tallies to the big wall. I just have a little llama drawing and then just a bunch of tallies under it.
There's like a tattoo on his chest. All the times he's seen this movie.
It's crazy.
Oh my god.
So Pacha finds Cusco in his cart, and they both freak out. And Cusco comes up with a plan to go back to the palace, have Yzma change him back with her potions, and then he can start construction on Cuscotopia. And Pacha obviously says he won't take him back. He's like, "I'm not doing that for
No.
you if you're gonna be mean about it."
Also, how does he not? The name's Isha, right? Isha.
Yzma?
Yzma.
How does he
You
not
really hate
realize
this movie?
How does he not realize Yzma's the one that poisoned them?
Because
Well-
he's a dumb 16-year-old.
And also,
good point.
look at Disney's classic colors for villains. It's always green, but Yzma wears a royal purple.
Yeah, it's
So
a
she's harder
cool
She
to
color.
tell.
looks so evil.
Yeah,
She
it's
does.
awesome.
Come on.
Yeah, and the part where he's like wrinkles on wrinkles, how is this woman staying together? I'm like, don't make fun of my
Very
queen.
funny.
She's so
also,
funny.
in the documentary, they point out the animator who does Jafar, Scar, and I believe one more like classic Disney
Okay.
villain did Yzma, and it's the first
which
female
makes
villain
sense.
he's done.
That makes
But
sense.
it's like a classic, like he's the Disney animated
Yeah.
villain guy. Like he's the one who does all the
It's kind of
characters.
cool. There's
Pretty
a
cool
guy
stuff.
that does. There's one guy.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
they're like,
It's
call in
cool.
the villain guy.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
gotta get in here.
It's cool because in the documentary you see him like acting out certain scenes from the script in a mirror of like how would she move, and like he
Really?
would do like the hips and like the arm movements and everything,
Oh, I
and then
love
he'd sit
that.
down and draw it.
That's
Oh, I
kinda
love
cool.
that.
So cool.
That
It's
is
really
so
cool.
Yeah.
That's why I recommend. I'm telling you, the documentary is like almost better than the movie.
Why does that
just
make me
as
want
a
to do
Disney
that?
nerd.
Like,
It's
I
so
want to
cool.
animate with like look
Yeah.
at myself in the mirror.
I'm
Yeah.
like, you're getting paid for this, dude. This is like my life.
To dance
dream.
around and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
That's
that's so
amazing.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, Cusco begins the journey back on his own and almost gets eaten by Black Panthers. I'm pretty sure those are Black Panthers.
Oh yeah.
When Pacha swings in Tarzan style and saves him, and they get stuck on a tree, like the vine like wraps around them on a tree, and they fall down a waterfall, ending up stranded in the middle of the jungle. And Pacha keeps Cusco warm at night by putting his, like shirt over him.
His little
His
poncho.
Poncho.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Wait, in that scene when they get wrapped up in the vine, don't they like the scorpions go down his back? Is that the same scene?
I think so.
And the bats go in freaking Cusco's mouth.
I think so.
Okay, that part as
Oh,
a
I think
child
that is the same
freaked
scene.
me out.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, really?
Nightmares.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want 50 bats in my mouth. That seems like it sucks.
Yeah. And yeah, so Pacha helps him out, even though he refuses to build his summer home on a different hill. He's still being stingy about all of this. And Yzma hosts a very brief
He's the
funeral
worst.
for Cusco, and then immediately makes the workers at the palace begin redecorating for the new empress.
Good.
This is
A
it.
rebranding,
She's
I'm
Branding,
kind of
yes.
on her side because I hate this dude so much.
I
I'm
love
rooting
her
for
so much
yeah.
that I am on her
Yeah,
side.
I'm like,
100%.
keep her in
Also,
charge.
She's one of the few Disney villains that as a kid I wasn't really genuinely terrified of. I was just like, oh, I
Agreed.
just like her. Like
Because she's
cool.
relatable. She's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, watching it today, I was like, maybe I should go into my villain arc. Like, she's
Yeah.
awesome.
There's also like no
Maybe.
real true evil laugh fade to black like Captain Hook or Ursula
Yeah.
or like really genuinely scary like villain songs, like nothing like that. So
Yeah.
it was kind of nice. Because I'm a little scared cat. But so Yzma finds out that Kronk didn't kill Cusco and she freaks out and they leave the palace to find him and finish the job. Now, Cusco agrees to find a new place for his summer home we later find out
wink,
he
wink.
lies.
Yeah, because he's the worst character
he's
ever.
awful. And Pacha begins to take him back to the palace.
I hate him.
When he almost falls to his death, and Cusco reveals that he lied to Pacha. And then they both end up getting stuck. And eventually they team up to escape, with Cusco saving Pacha's life. This is the first glimpse of redemption, a little
Too
bit,
late.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Late.
And there's a hilarious bit where Kronk talks to squirrels before they arrive at a restaurant in the jungle. Again, weird. But
Which is kind of cool.
Squirrel talk
Again,
was
you're
awesome.
kind of like modern day, like weird. What's the word I'm looking for? Like modern, like take weird modern day events and put them into
yeah. I know.
Incan culture.
Yeah,
Like there's at a restaurant in the middle of the jungle.
Yeah,
It's
modernism stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dude, I can talk to squirrels, but we can talk about that another time.
What?
It's like, I know, I was
Let's
watching it
talk about
earlier
that
and I was
now.
like, yo, I'm Cusco. Wait,
Squeak,
are you ready?
squeak.
It's going to probably sound super weird, but
Not like that.
can you hear it?
Wait, no,
microphone?
I just heard a squirrel
that?
in studio.
Hey, there you go. It's me, a squirrel. Dude,
It's either a squirrel or someone's
great.
making out in the studio.
no,
I was just going
it's
off
fun.
the Patrick Warburton.
It works.
Squeak.
I can't. How do you do that?
I
You
don't
do
know,
it
man.
so good.
I love it.
I'm telling you, he's gonna listen to this and be like, well, I'm never going on the show.
Probably hates us.
That's a really horrible impression. I feel
Yeah,
offended. Yeah.
I'm never coming on.
Imagine in real life, he's just like, "Hey man, what's up?" Like this is his
Yeah,
voice.
yeah.
Like, he just puts on a show.
Yeah, and then there's another funny sequence where Kronk becomes the new chef of the
Dude,
restaurant.
Kronk is
Oh,
the
yeah.
best.
And then Yzma and Cusco kind of go in and make weird order. They like kind of compliment each other's orders and
Oh,
mess
They're
it all
dressed
up.
as
and-
husband and wife.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is really funny.
I will say, I like watching this. I understand why there's a sequel where it's Kronk. Kronk's,
Yeah.
Kronk's
Because he's
new groove.
awesome.
Oh, it makes sense.
I just wanna
I'm
watch
sure
that.
everyone.
I know, yeah.
that was everyone's takeaway was we love Kronk.
Kronk is the best. Give Kronk a movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy too how like the most beloved character was the one that came in like so late
Yeah,
into the
super. It was
process.
not supposed to be in the movie at all.
All right, yeah. So Yzma reveals Cusco is there, and Pacha tells the waitress it is. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Pacha tells the waitress it's
Nick
Yzma's
got confused by
birthday.
his own nose.
So that
Oh, yeah,
Cusco, can't escape. Sorry, I have a lot. And Pacha tells Cusco that they were looking for him to kill him, and Cusco doesn't believe him until he hears them say it as
He
they walk
sucks.
by.
Because he's the worst.
Yeah.
I can't reiterate this enough. Cusco sucks. So annoying.
But here's the thing. I would argue that
Start
the
a
other
club.
three characters make up for it. Because they're all so strong that like I can almost look, because I agree that he's the worst, but I can look past it because the other three are so incredible that when any combination of the four are interacting, even if Cusco's in it, I think it makes up for it. That's just my personal take.
I'll respond to that
Okay,
when we get into
okay.
final
Yeah,
notes. 'Cause
okay.
I don't like fully give away my overall thought.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now Cusco is left alone in the rain because he's like, I don't want you anymore, John Goodman. Bye. Right where we found him in the beginning.
How could you
And
abandon
then-
John Goodman like
Dude,
that?
I know.
right.
It's
John
so
Goodman.
Look at it. And he looked so sad. The animators
know.
did so well.
Ugh. But so Kronk realizes that the person they saw at the diner was the way to get Cusco back. He realizes that it's Pacha. He realizes it's the guy who took the bag with Cusco in it away. And then Cusco reunites with Pacha and he apologizes for everything. They both begin their journey back home where they find Yzma and Kronk. They tell at Pacha's home, by the way. They tell the mom that they're going back to the palace. I don't remember the mom's name, but she's incredible.
She rocks. She's pretty cool.
She's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big, large, pregnant,
Yes.
running the
Oh,
freaking
the
show.
best.
She's doing
Literally
great.
the best.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they tell the mom that they're going back to the palace to change Cusco back and to distract Yzma and Kronk. And she does so by locking them in a closet and then sending Yzma down a hill and ending up as a piñata, which was incredible. And the kids were like in on it, and it was the
Yeah.
best.
Her chin was like the beak of the bird.
Yeah.
It was funny.
And Yzma and Kronk chase down Cusco and Pacha all the way to the palace where Pacha and Cusco are already trying to find the potion to turn him back. When we find out that Yzma has the human potion and they fight to get it back. There's this whole epic sequence where they're fighting in the palace and it's, these giant drops. 'cause it's a very tall palace and they're fighting.
And don't the soldiers also turn into animals at one point?
Yeah, because Yzma turns into
They
a
do.
cat by drinking one of the potions.
Right.
Yes.
And her
A
guards
kitten,
turn into
not a cat. A kitten.
Yes, you're right.
Because her voice is so like high like this.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Yes.
I feel like you also do a good.
I'll say, that was good.
Yzma? Okay,
Yzma.
I will admit I was running it while I was watching it
There
earlier.
you go.
'Cause I was like, if it comes up on the show, I want to be prepared.
Because you did it earlier and I was like,
That was fantastic.
Wrong Levi! It was so much fun. I mean, that one
I
was
love
good,
my
but hey.
personal favorite. I can't do the voice, but my personal favorite is anytime Yzma just goes, "What?" Like
Yes.
it's the
that's
best.
a good. Yes, so good.
But yes, so Yzma has the human potion, and they fight to get it back. And Yzma turns into a cat, and her guards turn into different animals. And they go back and forth between who has the potion until finally Kuzco and Pacha work as a team to get the potion back and turn Kuzco back into a human. And he decides to put his summer home on the hill next to Pacha, and they party together while Yzma, the kitten, learns to talk squirrel with Kronk.
We love it.
Did he learn his lesson?
He didn't really.
Didn't really.
No,
Like, he did because he was like, I'm not going to be, a jerk and
I won't
put it
destroy
on
your
your
house,
home,
but I'll put
but
it
I'm
next
going
to
to put it
yours.
on a hill. Also, we don't know if there was another home on that hill that he
Probably,
destroyed.
yeah.
Like, it's kind of
Good
vague
grief.
and unclear, but it makes for a happy ending. And
of.
all
But
is
at least we're
well
saving
in the
Pacha.
world.
Yeah.
And that is the Emperor's New Groove.
Heck
Now,
yeah.
going into final thoughts. Lily,
Yes.
being our guest,
Yes.
what did you think when rewatching this? Did it hold up? What are some of your favorite moments? What are final thoughts? What'd you think?
This is one of those comfort food movies for me.
I
So I watch
fully
this
agree.
one on on a regular basis.
Okay.
Every couple months I'll be like, I need the Emperor's New Groove. And so I'll watch it. So watching it today, I was like reminded of how much I just love it. And, I was trying to think of all these stories to tell you guys when I came here today. And while I was watching, it just made me feel super nostalgic and reminiscent. Like, I think it holds up. Production-wise, that all really, really sucks. The way that they came about making it. But it paid off. I thought it came out really well.
Yeah.
It's the unknown middle child of Disney, and I love it.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Pelton?
Sorry,
Let's hear
guys.
it. Let's hear it.
You
Okay,
get-
I can't wait for you to rip this apart like the executives into this movie.
Well, how about this? In very
don't have 10 minutes.
season 2 fashion,
Okay.
it seems to be a common theme where I have no connection to the movie. I watch it either once or twice for this show,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you
I
don't
didn't
hate it like
I really
season
didn't
one
hate it.
or Summer Session.
Yeah, I used to like terrorize these movies.
Yeah.
I feel bad, but I went in. I think honestly, you're right. The other characters are so good. They're so good. But for me, the main character is such an annoyance, and he's such a bad guy that it doesn't quite balance it out.
Yeah.
It's close.
Do you think? I think the answer is yes. Do you think it's because he is the main character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
So
he
if
was-
he was a sidekick, similar to Open Season,
I probably would have liked this way more.
got it.
Yeah, I would have been a fan of this movie. Like, I'm close to being a fan of Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
But it's just that they just went too far, I think, with making him unlikable. And it just kind of didn't, I wouldn't say it ruined the experience because I did like this movie. I think it's okay, but I couldn't quite get there.
Once you watch it 20 more times, I think.
I think it's just 20 more
And I
viewers
was
will
gonna say,
get
do
me
you
there.
think it would help if you had nostalgia behind it?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know nothing about this
That's
movie.
fair.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I have no connection
It's
to this.
one that I can see if you didn't grow up with it, it might be tough to love it on first.
Yeah, my first watch was probably when I was like 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right,
I was
right.
brand new to this.
Yeah. For me, I fully agree. It's a comfort movie. It's definitely up there. Like I said earlier, it's one of those that I stand by it after this watch of, I think it's one of the most, if not the most underrated Disney movie of all time. I thought it was funny throughout. I thought the humor, the way that they changed it from a musical epic to humorous, I thought the gags were incredible.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
the writing was
Yeah.
stellar for
So
I'll give
clever.
it that
Yeah.
too. They made me laugh a couple times. The writing
such
was
good comedy
yeah.
in it. And I cared genuinely about each and every character in the world of this movie. Patrick Warburton delivers yet again. John
King.
Goodman's
Yeah,
amazing.
come on now.
Eartha Kitt's amazing. That guy's amazing. And
Nice.
Yeah.
David Spade, is that the
Spade,
name
yeah.
you forgot?
Yes.
The main character.
the main character.
David Spade, SNL alum
The
David
squirrels
Spade.
were amazing. The Black Panthers were amazing. Everything. The kids were amazing. All of it.
And that one guy.
And that one dude.
No one really
that was
talks
in it
about
for
him
like
anymore.
5 minutes. And and one final thought on The Emperor's New Groove.
I
can't believe it got greenlit.
Awesome. I love it. Okay. Thank you, Lily, for being on the show. This has
thank
been
you so much.
incredible.
Check out Afterworld if you have a moment.
Definitely check out Afterworld. This is a super fun project that everyone should go check out. Thank you for being here. Tune in next week for The Chronicles of Narnia, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe with special guest Ruby Brooks. We're so excited to have her on the show.
snap.
It was so much fun.
It's going to be super fun. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week.
See you next week
Bye.
in the wardrobe.
Bye.